We're going to look at some coaching changes for the Super Rugby Pacific teams in 2023. Harry's just getting to the slide now. I guess let's look at the Aussie Conference first. Nels, do you want to take us through the coaches?
I mean, there's one that's exciting everyone in terms of change, and that's Larkham coming in as the returning but new Brumbies a coach after leaving a couple of years back. I mean, if he can direct this back line and this side around like he did on the footy field as a fly half, there's some exciting times coming for the Brumbies. So really exciting guy there. We've got the Rebels with Kevin Foote, Nick Stiles. Is he his assistant or what's he doing there, Harry?
He's the general manager of rugby, but he's been there since 2021. I think there's some confusion over that one. He's basically helping. He's the bloke that's talking up all their cohesion tactics for the Rebels to come good, and it seemed to have worked against the Brums, I must say, in the trial.
I mean, that's a big thing, that if he's the instigator of that with Kevin Foote as well. I mean, they sent their players across into the Queensland comp, and that's some very big things coming out of those two.
He's got the red phone at his office, the direct line to Ben Darwin.
Yeah, and Brad Thorne with his 1000th year involved in rugby and his 6th year as a coach for the Reds. I think he's now the longest serving, or is he the second longest serving? He's right up there for the Reds. So pretty brilliant. But Phil Blake has been signed as their defence coach. He's an exciting one to come in for them. And Mick Heenan, who has had 13 years at UQ, University of Queensland, with 6 that's the Queensland Hospital Cup premierships. So that's pretty exciting. They've also got Jim Mackay in his 5th year as the attacking coach.
Yeah, no changes over at the Tars with Darren Coleman. Classic Waratahs, 2nd years where you win your premiership. So congratulations to Darren Coleman on his 2023 season, I'll say now. Western Force as well. They've got a new coach in Simon Cron. Obviously could well have been the Tars coach if things played out a little differently, but already saying, he doesn't believe in rebuilding years. It's just what losers say. I might be paraphrasing, but that's the gist of it. So I love that he's aiming high.
If that's the case, if that's the case, then surely we see 2 Mata Ellies on each wing. You know what I mean? Come on, Cronny, let's do it.
100%, mate, 100%. And I was thinking before when you're talking about Kenny Naholo, he's surely turning up at the Western Force next year. But anyway, let's not jump too far down that rabbit hole. Point being, he is setting the standards very high and the expectations high as they try and really make a name for themselves in this year's season. And look, they're the most disturbed side in terms of turnover of players. That's going to be a big effort from him. Fijian and Brua still have Mick Byrne running the reins, steering the ship there, and Moana Pacifica, Aaron Major, continues to lead the team over in Auckland as well.
And I think we talked about pretty similarly with both those teams. Last year, obviously first year in the competition, it was just trying to get as many players on the paddock and get them up to standard, what it's like being in a professional Super Rugby team and environment. But this year, they're both kind of on the same train of thought, where now let's find our best team and let's really have a good go at it. So it's going to be really exciting to see. And hopefully, we don't get a year that's so affected by COVID and all kinds of other nonsense.
Why do you put that out there, mate?
What they can do. Sorry?
Don't put that bad juju out there, mate.
Sorry, true. Pretend I said nothing. Harry will edit that out later. No, well, we don't edit this. But, all right, the Kiwi teams, the Blues, Leon McDonald, is the head coach there, but very excitingly, they signed New Zealand rugby legend Paul Tito, who's the new forwards coach. Tito, of course, played, I think, for every bloody team. No, played 1,000 games, but obviously many, many seasons for the Hurricanes back in the day. Very beloved character over there in New Zealand rugby. Chiefs, Clayton McMillan. He, was kind of seen off Warren Gatland, who's headed back to take his job, familiar with Wales. So Clayton McMillan's kind of survived that little Warren Gatland coming over and, taking his job and then whatever. So well done to him. And Nels, do you want to take us through the last 2 teams?
Yeah, no changes for the Crusaders. Scott Robinson, Razor Robinson. You just get this feeling that maybe it's his last year there with big things to come.
It's definitely his last year there. It's a strong feeling. Like him saying, oh, yeah, the announcement for the All Blacks coach will come in the next week or so with a big group in face.
Rugby New Zealand obviously tried to shut that down, but it doesn't really feel like it when you look at his confidence when he's interviewed. And James Marshall is the backs coach there for the Highlanders. Clark Dermody, he was the assistant coach, and he's come in for Tony Brown, who's returned as assistant to Japan to focus on the World Cup for them. And Harry Donnelly.
Yeah, the Highlanders have also signed Tom Donnelly to run the lineouts, kickoffs, and general forward play. Dave Dillon for defence, Richard Whiffen on attack, and a familiar name, Ricky Flutie, looking after the skills. And Chris Boyd is the coaching mentor over there as well. So pretty cool to see him involved. And the Hurricanes have just gone for all your favourite players. So Jason Holland's still steering the ship, but they've got Chris Gibbs still there, but Corey Jane still coaching. Tyler Blindale has been there, I think, for a couple of seasons now, and Jamie McIntosh as well. So I can't believe that Jamie McIntosh is coaching anywhere but the Highlanders, to be honest. I thought that he just bled for that side, but exciting young coaching staff for the Hurricanes.
That's it. You take the job where you can get it, don't you? But I think I saw, if you want to feel old, fellas, I think I saw Corey Jane was tweeting, talking about, it was his birthday the other day, and he was like, I feel so old when I just turned 28 years old or something now. Can you imagine when I'm 40? But I'm pretty sure Corey Jane just turned 40. So if you want to start feeling old, it's can you believe it? Anyway.
Yeah, that's getting on. Thankfully, we're not his age.
No,
we're still young bucks, mate, living in our prime.
Yes. Well, I think that rounds out the podcast, the Hot Shit / Peter Lackey podcast. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited. I can't wait for the trials this week to see, hopefully to be able to watch more of the trials this week to begin with, but also just to see how everything plays out. And for those fantasy managers amongst us, get into it. We are having our OG League draft this coming weekend, the biggest day of the year. Very excited. I feel like this is probably the least amount of work we've ever done in planning for our teams, as we've gotten older and busier. But that just adds to the fun, really.
Boys, there's only one way that we can celebrate the end of this podcast, and that is by celebrating women's rugby and celebrate the big step forward Australian women have made in their pay gaps.
Because girls is players too. We had the original audio in here, but YouTube wouldn't let us publish it, so you're stuck with me. Money all around the world, because girls is players too.
Strong finish, boys.